All right, so what you're looking at is probably the most unique piece of electrical equipment I have in my beacon collection. This is a 36-inch rotating airport beacon. These are used, or were used very widely in the United States, and this model design actually dates all the way back to the lighted airmail system, which was created in the late 1920s, early 1930s. This particular unit was made by ADB. I believe it is a rebuild from the early 2000s. I purchased it new old stock. It was still in its original crate. That's the pallet that it came on. I got this from a electrical surplus wholesaler in the Atlanta metro area in Georgia. I purchased it last year. Due to COVID restrictions with crossing state lines with Texas, I wasn't able to get it immediately. So I had a friend pick it up for me, and he was able to store it at his house in Georgia until I was able to pick it up in the spring of this year. And I just wanted to go over some of the interesting parts of this beacon and general information about it. All right, this is what the beacon looks like from the side. You can see that it has a lens on each side. They're 180 degrees apart. There's a light source in the middle, and the barrel with the lenses on it rotates around the light, which produces the two beams. One of the inner filters is green and the other filter is clear, so it makes a green and white flashing pattern, and that's for a civilian land use airport. This particular beacon came with a 1000 watt metal halide light source. That's a little bit too much for what I plan to do with this, so I went ahead and bypassed the ballast and the ignition system, and I'm just using a 300 watt shop light on a base adapter inside the beacon, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. The bottom, it has I think it's a 1/4 or 1/3 horsepower electric motor. This whole unit operates on 110 volts. There's a big gear that drives the beacon, and the speed is not adjustable. It does rotate at 12 RPM, which makes 24 flashes per minute. Original beacons of this style actually rotated at half the speed. They were 6 RPM, giving 12 flashes per minute. And moving along to the side here, you can see there's one big inner bullseye lens and then several sections around. These glass lenses are extremely heavy. The top of this beacon, without the rotator, weighs several hundred pounds, probably 300 or 400 pounds, I'd imagine. It took me and 2 other guys to get it out of the back of my truck, and we had to detach the top head of the beacon from the rotator mechanism to actually unload it from the truck because it is so heavy. All right, on the top you can see there's a conduit or a coupling with a plug in it. That is for an optional obstruction light, which I believe operates as like a telltale type situation. So if this beacon does go out, there would be a red obstruction light on top, which would illuminate, letting you know that the beacon was out, but also providing a warning to any low-flying aircraft that there is an obstruction. These are usually mounted on like 50 or 60 foot towers. So it's just another way to warn aircraft that there's a tall object that could possibly be in their way if they're flying really low. This particular unit obviously didn't have that, but that was an option, and I think you can still get beacons with that option on top of them. On each side, the side you're looking at and the side across on the back, there are access doors like this. There are 4 wing nuts that you can loosen, and that door will flip down, which I'll show you, and that's how you get to the internal lighting system for this beacon. All right, here's a view of the inside of the beacon with the access door open. You can see I've undone the 4 wing nuts there and loosened it. So right here, this is the light bulb that I purchased. Just that was a lot lower wattage and power, so I could run the beacon in my garage without just blinding everything. This is a socket reducer and an extension. This is the original socket where the 1000 watt light bulb would screw into. This is an adjustable riser. You can actually adjust the beam of the beacon. The higher that you raise the bulb, the lower the beam will project, and the lower that you make this riser, the greater or higher angle the beam will go. I think these were preset at like 5 degrees above the horizon. This I have set basically right even. It's like at 0 or 1 degrees. You can see this filament right here. That's actually lined up. It's really hard to see because it's so cramped in here, but it's lined up with the middle part of that inner doublet lens. You can see there's a clear one, like I said, and then there's a green one that also acts as a filter. This beacon is a little bit different. A lot of beacons don't have this metal shield plate in them. I believe this model had that because that 1000 watt metal halide light was so bright that it would actually glare around that green filter and would probably distort the green color of the beam. So they added this shield. Back in the back on the other side, you can see the protective shield for the ballast and ignition system for the original 1000 watt metal halide light. You can see I've capped it. I don't know if you can see from this side, but there's a terminal block that the wires coming up from the rotator mechanism screw into, and then you screw the socket lights into the other part of that terminal block. So what I did was just remove that, bypass that, and then splice those two wires together coming up from the bottom, just so I'd have 120 volts without a ballast on it. You can see this thing is in great condition. Like I believe I've already mentioned, this was new old stock. I believe this was either a new build or a refurbished beacon. It can be kind of hard to tell. There are no identification markings suggesting that it was an older beacon. I think this is a new cast bottom. You can see there's a plate here where maybe something was originally and maybe something right there, but they were either sanded off or they just never imprinted anything. This is a little vent so the light can cool. And then on the other side, you can see there's the shield and then the, oh, it's not focusing, the green inner doublet lens. So what they do, the light will shine, it'll focus the beam to go out the large bullseye lens, and then it'll further narrow the beam to make a straight beam out. These, I believe you could see with that 1000 watt metal halide source for up to 40 or 50 miles, extremely bright. The original units actually operated off of, I believe, 500 watt tungsten bulbs. I think they were T20 shaped. And they actually had a system where there were 2 light bulbs in it. There was the active light bulb and a standby light with an automatic bulb changer. So if the light burned out, it would switch over to the good bulb. And then that was for dependability, and then also to reduce the amount of maintenance and the amount of times people had to climb the tower to actually change the light bulb. All right, here I've rotated the beacon 180 degrees. This is the side with the transformer ballast and the ignition system. It's underneath this heat shield right here. Can't really get a good look at it, but it's a really big ballast. It is pretty heavy. And I haven't done anything to it that would render it inoperable. I've simply bypassed it. So if I ever wanted to put the original light bulb in, I could. But like I said, it is extremely bright, and I don't have any use for something quite that bright, especially here where I'm just storing it in my garage for now. All right, for those that are interested, this is what the original 1000 watt metal halide bulb looks like. You can see I've run it a little bit, but otherwise it's in brand new condition.
This is a quick view of the data plate that ADB provided. You can see they actually just use Sharpie to put the information on there. There's a serial number, E980014. This might be a 1998 model, beacon number 114, if I had to guess, but I'm not exactly sure. You can see again that it runs on 120 volts, 60 hertz for here in the United States.
All right, here's the beacon in operation. It's actually not very loud. It definitely makes noise, but I'm sure on the video it sounds like it's almost deafening, but you can easily talk over this. There's a little bit of a squeak in it. Again, this set for many, many years just in a warehouse, so it probably does need to be re-lubricated. I have the manual for this beacon. I think it just takes some silicone grease. As you can see, it's extremely bright, even with just a 200 watt incandescent bulb in it. And even with it operating on the lower wattage bulb, the way that the optics are designed, you could probably see this for several miles if it was mounted up on a tower at nighttime. All right, here's just a video of the beam pattern. You can see it projects a very narrow beam, basically the size and shape of the filament inside. This is something I've been looking for a long time to add to my collection. I'm really excited to finally have one. Once I relocate to a larger piece of property, I do have big plans for this big beacon. Hopefully this answered any questions you may have about how these work, or if you've never seen the inside of one or just want to know more about them, try to make this as explanatory as I could. If you have any other questions, you can ask them in the comment section below. If you like this video and want to see more like it, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video.